Hi, Mike Gould here, Mayor of Hounds Town USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. Hounds Town USA, for those of you who don't know, is a fully interactive pet care business company with locations now in Tennessee, New York, and New Jersey. Joining me today, as usual, is my very lovely co-host, Jackie Bondanza. And we're going to talk a little bit of what's happening in the doggy daycare world, and we have a very interesting guest that we'll be bringing on. So, Jackie Bondanza, welcome. Tell everybody out there in podcast land what's going on with Hounds Town USA.
Well, we have obviously 5 great locations that are open and operating right now in Ronkonkoma, Island Park, Port Jefferson, Farmingdale, and Deer Park, and we're going to be opening soon in Hicksville and Mineola, as well as you said, Nashville and 2 locations in New Jersey. So we're really expanding, but you know, the heart of Hounds Town is here on Long Island. We're a Long Island business, and our corporate location, Hounds Town Ronkonkoma, is managed by Ashly. She's our manager over there. She's been with us for about 4 years now.
Let's introduce her. So joining us now is Ashly Tew, our operations manager at Ronkonkoma, which is our corporate location. Welcome to the show there, Ashly.
Thank you.
So tell us, so you've been with the company for how long now?
About a little over 5 years.
So 5 years, boy, time flies. So you started as just what we would call an entry-level kennel assistant, or whatever the words we want to use. You started out there 5 years ago, and you really jumped through many levels and steps kind of rapidly to where you operate. You're the manager of the complete facility. So tell us about your experiences. So you started out so you came to us as a kennel assistant.
Yeah, kennel assistant, and just starting at the bottom, coming in, doing the daily stuff, cleaning up after the dogs, taking instruction from the higher ups at the time,
that's all right. That's all right.
And then going up towards, then started answering phones, and we went up the scale as far as that, and more responsibility into dealing with customers. And I think as the franchise grew at that point, we learned how to better deal with the customers, and just communication wise.
Right.
And
So it's interesting because you're one of few people that actually have achieved that level. So I think a lot of times people think of doggy daycare as some place where you go and play with dogs, and there's not a lot of things happening. But as you well know now, behind the scenes, and that's what I kind of want to talk about today, is what really goes into doggy daycare. It's really not that simple. So what, from the very beginning you started, what were the most challenging things that you've dealt with?
For me, honestly, it's probably managing, dealing with the customers and then their relationships with the dogs, and then, just learning dog behavior with no prior really experience besides just owning dogs your whole life. Going from that now to dogs interacting in play groups out of their, normal environment is definitely something that, it does take a little bit of time, I think, to learn.
Right, and behind the scenes, and again, this is what people don't understand, there's a lot happening. We just don't take dogs and throw them in. And one of the highlights, or one of the things that separate Hounds Town USA from our competitors, is we don't breed discriminate, meaning we take dogs of all shapes and sizes, providing they meet our no-cost temperament evaluation. But with that said, although it's not an exact science, you personally have the ability, a really extraordinary ability, to group dogs. So how does that work? So people come in, they do a temperament test. So describe a temperament test, actually.
Right. They're going to come in. I mean, we start pretty much evaluating the dog and the customer for the evaluation, seeing their relationship with their dog, what they're kind of expecting out of this facility, and really trying to convey how we run things. So if they're kind of looking for a service that we don't provide, as far as, like we've always talked about, belly rubs for extra $5 and stuff like that, that's not what we do. We're really trying to benefit the dog more of a mental level of getting them out of being at home all day. The parents always feel guilty, so they bring them to doggy daycare. And taking that dog and getting them introduced into a play group, some aren't really used to that. So it's balancing dogs that might not be, used to going to dog parks all day, and getting them introduced into dogs that are more, tolerant of newer dogs.
And more social.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a socialization process that happens behind the scenes when the dog comes. I mean, we have obviously like the front end where we have the interaction with the customer, but then on the back end, a lot goes into finding the right group for certain dogs we group based on size and temperament and energy level.
Right.
So it can take a lot to manage
Yeah,
like
definitely.
all of these different groups and to find the right group of friends for each dog.
Absolutely. And one of the interesting things Ashly said is we really are evaluating the customer too, because if the customer's expectations are too high and we can't provide the service, we want to be very honest about that. And that is what we attribute to our success. So we're really bursting at the seams, very frankly, we're breaking records every day, every week, with the amount of dogs we have in our facilities. And the reason for it, I obviously know it's for folks like Ashly that really understand the animal behavior, and understand that we have to be honest, so we don't upcharge for belly rub, bottled water. It's kind of a straightforward approach. And the word transparency is kind of cliche these days. Everybody says we want to be transparent. But part of our business model is to be transparent. So when you're evaluating humans with their dog, what are you looking for? Like, what would be things that would just make you pause a little bit about either a customer or a dog? What would be the behaviors?
Honestly, them looking at a different dog, as far as if it was a pit bull or something like that, and them stereotyping a dog is always, definitely a little shy off for us, just because they don't understand that dogs are dogs, and just because it's a different breed means it's a different, it's like an alien on a different planet, that they're acting completely differently. They're not. They're all dogs. They all behave the same way. Malteses hump just like some pit bulls might. So that's always a flag. I mean, and how attached they are to their dog. If we can't have a conversation with them and they're constantly touching and picking up their dog, that's also a flag for us too. That there's a lot of anxiety more on the human than it is the dog. And
that's don't you see, like, I've seen this when I've been in our corporate place. Humans, the owners that are anxious, they project that onto the dog.
Yeah.
So obviously people are very bonded with their dogs, but we want them to be able to leave them in our care, knowing that they're in the best possible care. They have to be able to have that separation.
Right.
Otherwise, it's actually detrimental to the dog that they don't get to experience this interaction with their own kind, really.
Right. And that's definitely important. That's something important for me to highlight, that doggy daycare is just not a place to send your dog to get him out of your hair for 10 or 12 hours if you're working. It actually has therapeutic benefits. One of them, what Jackie and Ashly are talking about, the psychological benefit. It's not good for a dog to attach themselves so closely and have like a kind of a codependent, enabling connection with their human owners. So dogs they're pack animals. They were put on earth as pack animals, which means they're required by the laws of nature to interact with other animals, just like young children are required to interact with other young children. So that's important, and I definitely, what always never ceases to amaze me is the fact that the people see their dogs maybe barking at the neighbor's dog in the backyard, and they kind of already label him as aggressive.
Aggressive, yes.
And it has to be rewarding to you, as it is to me, to take the dog, put him in a play group, and 15 minutes later, the pet owners can't believe that their dog is actually playing.
Right.
So you see that quite a bit?
Yeah, that's really often. I mean, even people label their dog as severely dog aggressive, and it's just unleashed like that. They just they're barking or loud. We're trying to drag them to the other dog, which, isn't something that we would shy away from a temp test. But I mean, I've asked people to step out of the lobby and let us just, handle the dog without them there. And, we take them, we put them on one of our kennel leads, take them off their harnesses. And sometimes just that's enough to take that disconnect of, that leash aggression that the dogs might have.
That's interesting. And it's not offensive, but the connection is so great. And it's kind of, as I say, almost a dysfunctional relationship, because if the dog is so attached to the human and the human is so attached to the dog, and again, think of it as a 5-year-old child that you never allow to go to kindergarten. As upsetting as it may be, you need to do it. And I guess, so you know what? This segment is going good. I want to go to commercials. I didn't think you were going to. No, because I'm not even scratching the surface of what Ash.
Let's take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk to Ashly more.
More about what she does. Now she talked about the dogs. Now her other responsibilities are humans, employees, etc. And I'd like to talk about a day in the life of a doggy daycare employee.
Sure.
But as they say in show business, we got to pay the bills. So we're going to go to a commercial. Everybody, they might have carbon monoxide poisoning in the crew here. They're falling asleep. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back in a couple of minutes and talk with Ashly Tew, the operations manager of Hounds Town USA in Ronkonkoma, New York. Hi, Mike Gould here, Mayor of Hounds Town USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. We have fully interactive doggy daycare, safe and secure overnight camping, professional grooming, expert training for your dog. Come.
Don't leave your pet home alone. Have a happy and well-exercised dog with a visit to Hounds Town USA. Visit us online at houndstownusa.com for a location near you.
Call today, tell them the mayor sent you, get a free trial day. Okay, welcome back, folks. I'm Mike Gould, Mayor of Hounds Town USA and host of Hounds Town Television. I'm joined again by Jackie Bondanza and Ashly Tew, our operations manager in Ronkonkoma, New York, and I want to continue our conversation with her. One thing I wanted to promise, as Jackie mentioned, we'll be opening very soon in Nashville, Tennessee, actually Murfreesboro, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So I want to give a shout out to Kenny and Shelly Adair. We're very anxious. In fact, I'm going to get down there as quick as I can and get that up and running. We're really excited. So if anybody watching has relatives down in the Nashville area, we're going to have a big presence. Hounds Town USA is going to have a big presence down there. So let's get back, Jackie, if you would. We were talking to Ashly about the behind the scenes at Doggy Daycare. And I think you wanted to talk about some of the pros and cons or benefits of doggy daycare.
Well, to me, whenever I go to one of our Hounds Town facilities, I'm always amazed to see how dogs interact together. And, you know, if you just kind of let them interact without much human intervention, of course we supervise dogs, but we don't have dogs in play. We don't have humans in playrooms for a specific reason, because it takes away from their natural interaction, and it can actually cause a dog fight because dogs can get territorial of employees. So what are some of the benefits that you've seen over the years of being a manager at Hounds Town that from the dog's perspective, on the dog, that's beneficial to the dog coming to daycare regularly?
You know, from then until now, I mean, definitely anxiety is probably the biggest one. Separation anxiety between, you know, even if it's just the pet owner and the pet, that separation, or just them, you know, any kind of change in their environment, they're really not able to handle it, the dog. So then now coming to here, and now they get into the routine that they're coming in every day, meeting new dogs every day.
Right.
You know, they get used to the staff and stuff like that, and they definitely do build relationships with other dogs there. But it's always a changing environment. There's always things going on and moving around. So it definitely benefits them.
I think they become more adaptable
to change,
and
right?
More socialized in general. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely. Another one I would definitely say is a little bit of an older dogs. Definitely helps with their weight management and arthritis. I have some dogs that, especially we have an older shepherd right now that comes in, and she mainly just comes in because the dog for the rest of the week walks completely normally.
That's
and less
incredible. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just from getting that physical exercise.
And she's been coming since she was a puppy, so she's been a long-time customer of ours.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, and you're right. Over the years, we see that dogs that are arthritic, especially big, you know, some of the bigger breeds of dogs, Dobermans, which Dobermans, Rottweilers, and so forth, which, by the way, are considered bully breeds: Rottweilers, German Shepherds, Dobermans, of course, the pit bull. And we don't discriminate at Hounds Town USA. And I think that's one of the most important things, because if a place does discriminate against a breed of dog, it tells me they don't understand the dog brain, because the dog brain, or the human brain, whether you're Irish, German, Muslim, your brain is the same. Maybe how you were socialized, etc. So we do a temperament test. That doesn't mean every dog is welcome, but we do a very comprehensive temperament evaluation. And once that's done, I would say this: it's not a luxury. It's really, if you think about it, a necessity, in my view, to send your dog to have a holistic experience, because dogs are pack animals, as we said in the last. They're required by, not my idea, Mother Nature. Nature says they're pack animals. Fish need water, birds fly in a nest, and dogs need to interact with other animals. So think of some of the behaviors, other behaviors you've seen. I mean, we get story after story that my dog is, you just have to go to our Facebook page, right? Hounds Town USA Facebook page, and you'll hear story after story. You also do some kind of what I consider corny things that are kind of, you have parties, to me that's a little like a whole other element, because I look
we don't, I think we're pretty straightforward. Pet care provider. We don't, like Ashly said in the previous segment, we don't upcharge for things, belly rubs and bottled water. We are a straightforward service. You drop your dog off at 6 a.m. He's gonna play. He's gonna, like you say, hump, jump, and dump, and that's it. People want just to pay for what they're gonna get. But we do understand that the people do have this connection to their dog. They want their dogs to celebrate certain milestones, birthdays and holidays. So we do incorporate what we call theme parties every month. And it's pretty funny. We just had a Valentine's Day dance in February. We have a St. Patrick's Day paw wade in March.
Clever.
So it's fun for the dogs to
But of course there is that human element of it, and our customers are anthropomorphic. So look that one up, folks. But yeah, so we do address their need. But I think fundamentally though, and I know what separates us from our competitors. We see the world. Our facilities are designed from a dog's perspective. It's not for the human. We don't have things for the human, it's for the dog. So we know dogs operate and live 18, 20 inches off the ground. So our facilities are designed for that specific reason. And I think that our core group of customers completely understand what we do, and they trust us. So trust is a very important aspect. So tell us some of the dogs that stick out in your head that you've seen kind of evolve over the years.
Yeah, we've definitely had a couple that stick out. We had an Australian cattle dog that he works a lot, and he does. He's very bonded to the dad. Yes.
Who is it?
The Australian dog doesn't work a lot.
No, the dad does.
The dad does. Yeah.
But he does. Yeah, he was taking him to work with him, and it was a lot because he's trying to work, he's driving.
Right.
And the dog is very bonded to him, and he knows that he can leave the dog, and he doesn't have that separation anxiety when he leaves him with us. And he runs in the door barking every day, and stays with us all day, and goes home at night and is tired, and he can sleep from driving all day.
Right.
And it definitely benefits both of them.
So our human client base, I mean, it really spans the spectrum of occupations: cops, firemen, teachers, anybody who's worked construction people that their schedules are a little unpredictable. So what we like to say is Hounds Town USA makes pet care possible, and you don't need an accountant to figure out your bill. So many of our customers come from other pet care facilities, whether they're the corporate ones, the big box pet care facilities, or even the mom and pops. People's, I guess, burning desire, entrepreneurs, is to, make money. They do it at their own peril, because if I wouldn't think of charging a customer $1 for bottled water.
Right.
I wouldn't think of charging money.
The one that gets me is the medication. Like, they charge $1 a pill, like extra if your dog has to get it. But all you're doing is the employee's just dropping the pill into the food. So like, why would you charge a customer for that? So we don't do any of that. We will give you your dog's medication for free, happily. We will give your dog a belly rub for free, happily. I mean, we're not going to charge for these extra things.
To me, these are unthinkable.
I think that our customers appreciate that about us. Don't you think so?
Yeah, no. I've even had people come in and they try daycare out in the city and stuff like that, and the places are actually charging them to use their own food, not even use the pet care provider's food. That if they want to bring their own doggy daycare food in for overnights, they have to actually be charged, and then they'll give them the spiel that it's not good to change the diet, so you have to bring your own food. And then they're going to charge them for it anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy.
Just crazy.
And I know our customers, we don't insult their intelligence. So if you go to a place and you need, as I said, an accountant to figure out your bill, maybe the daycare fee is $25 or $30, but at the end of the day, you're really paying $42, or your weekly bill is like, you have to question that. And to me, again, this isn't a promotional thing, it's an insult to your intelligence, right? So our customers are, I'd like to say, kind of blue-collar working people that come, and it's for many of them it's a necessity. It's not a luxury. They just frankly couldn't have a dog, except for Hounds Town USA, our hours, etc. And Jackie, now you've been on board. Now you used to go to a different dog. You cheated on us, and you went to a competitor. You cheated on us.
Hounds Town wasn't in the city where I lived, so yeah, I used to
so you
be
were
a
one
customer
of those.
at another pet care facility, and yeah, I just like Hounds Town better. I mean, I liked it so much I quit my job and started working here. So I mean, that's like no better of an endorsement. But it's just a more down-to-earth place. I just find, I didn't think I had a dog that was aggressive. I didn't think my dog could go to doggie daycare, and I was shocked by the transformation that she made really quickly just by interacting with other dogs and having that opportunity to socialize. So I've seen it myself. So and when I'm there, I see the customers. You know, it can be emotional if you have a dog that a vet tells you needs to be put down or can't interact. I mean, that's a horrible fate for a dog. And to see then the dog come to us at Hounds Town and be able to interact and it's just so striking that would be so misdiagnosed that it would almost threaten the dog's life.
Right.
To me, it's just...
Could you imagine if you brought your child to a school and they wouldn't accept him because he was Irish or whatever religion or nationality? You would be appalled.
Yeah.
So this opens up the door for all of those pet owners. I mean, I don't know the percentages, but we have a large percentage of bully breeds.
Oh yeah, bully breeds, definitely.
You know, and we do a great job in managing them. So with that said, this has been some great segments, and I enjoyed it. It's actually, we need another episode. But anyway, if you want to know anything about this and question what we're doing, so what's the old saying, an educated consumer is our best customer? I'd like you to go research, go to our competitors, then go to houndstownusa.com, go on our Facebook if you want to see our loyal following, and every question that you've ever wanted to know about pet care and doggy daycare can be found there. Again, I'm your host, Mike Gould from Hounds Town TV. See you next time. Thank you.